Okay, so very quickly, in case you guys don't know, today's Global Week of Action event is going to be our Dolphin Pool right before our closing ceremony. And Dolphin Pools are the culmination of our other sandbox events. So in case you aren't aware, we've been holding sandbox events throughout the week, where students get to organize into rooms and work on a project related to a chosen SDG. And so they've been working on their project all week, and it's finally ready to be shown to y'all at today's Dolphin Pool. And we have a wonderful team of panelists as well who have been specially invited here today to join us. And they consist of social innovation experts, leaders in various business, legal industries as well as student organizations and NGOs. And they're all here to give you guys some constructive criticism as well as much needed advice on how to take your project forward if you wish, as well as how to better enhance your project management and creative thinking skills. So we're very happy to have all of you here today, as well as our panelist team, as well as our admin team, who has been with us every step of the way to make this event possible. And we're very glad to welcome all of you here today. So I'm going to start by sharing our event slideshow. And also one where everyone can feel free to be themselves and speak in a manner authentic to themselves. So if you are comfortable to do so, feel free to turn on your camera. It's not a requirement by whatsoever, and by no means is it a requirement. But we'd love to get to match names, faces, and interact with all of you. So that's a wonderful thing you can do if you so choose. Okay, so, oops, not that. All right, can everybody see my screen okay? Awesome, okay. So this is today's Global Week of Action event, Dolphin Pool for SDG 5, Gender Equality, as is the theme of our event for the entire month. So here's some history about our amazing Dolphin Pool event. So the first Dolphin Pool was held in July 2020 for the Global Summit 2.0. It welcomes students from all over the world to work on world-changing ideas for the SDGs. And since 2020, over 30 students have been showcased at various Dolphin Pool pitch events, impacting SDGs 8, 4, 5, 10, 13, and 15. And today we're happy to do a second round of ideas for SDG 10. And this program, like many others like it, are really what help us put the word impact and impact, because students are literally planning the next great project idea relevant to a particular SDG, even though they may never have the opportunity to actually carry it out in real life. It is still an awesome exercise to get to practice flexing your creative muscles for the SDGs, and it really shows the potential of some of the direct impact we can do as an organization if some of our students participating in these events had unlimited time and resources. Okay, so to begin, how we basically went about encouraging our students to come up with these project ideas was to begin with several key inspirational examples of NGOs, organizations, and projects within our network, within our global network, that we wanted to share to our student community and say, look at them, this is what some of these organizations are doing, and hopefully this inspires you to come up with your own idea. And afterwards, each of our student participants received a slideshow template with like different boxes they can fill out, almost sort of like a worksheet, kinda, where they could basically follow along in a very intuitive manner and prepare themselves for today's presentation. So I'm just going to very briefly go over some of the case studies that we went over with them. So the first one is Green Light for Girls. We are very proud to have this organization as a MUN Impact partner. And they are a EU-based organization that inspires girls to pursue STEM subjects, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And they do so by running events, after-school programs, and hands-on opportunities to kindle an interest in STEM among young girls. And to date, they have completed 350 plus events with 50,000 participants. So this is an excellent example of a high impact organization that's focused on education. So you see the intersection of SDGs 4 and 5. And I believe this did inspire some of our students to look into project ideas in the SDG 4, SDG 5 kind of middle of the Venn diagram. So, you know, it's proof that this sort of seeing examples and getting inspired definitely works for our students. Next up was Fairy Tales. This is all an EU-based organization, and they basically retell folk tales for children 5 to 7 in a manner that shifts away from gender stereotypes. So some of our traditional fairy tales that we're familiar with, also Grimm's fairy tales. This organization basically seeks to redefine and retell these stories in a way that shift away from gender stereotypes, that encourage inclusivity and breaking down some certain gender roles that have been kind of entrenched for generations. And they do so by working with education authorities to implement curriculum that teach children about gender and the importance of equal opportunity through these fairy tales. And they currently have national partners in Bulgaria, Greece, and Italy. So we went from something that's very much science-based to something that's very much in the arts. And so students can see that across these various fields, there's still good work to be done in terms of achieving gender parity as per the Sustainable Development Goal number 5. And lastly, this one we're very proud of. This was Hope for Education and Leadership in Afghanistan. We are very proud to have this organization as a MUN Impact affiliate, an organization that we've worked with, I believe, for nearly a decade, either way for a very, very long time, with very close ties to the leadership group for this organization. And Gila is very proud to have started the first MUN organization / conference in Afghanistan. And up until recently, they also run a female young leaders program that has trained 20 young women to be business leaders and entrepreneurs in their community. So this is an organization that's all about empowerment, that's all about creating opportunity in a place where it's scarce, and all about hope. It's all about hope. You can see from the sunrise and the logo to hope in the name. It's an organization that lives, breathes, and carries on hope for all the people that it works with. And of course, as we know, last year, things in Afghanistan, the situation took a turn. But that being said, the leadership group is still active for this organization, and they are still working on various ideas to continue their work. Okay, so before we move on to our pitches, we want to very briefly introduce our esteemed panelists who are joining us today. So I will introduce each of you all briefly, given the bios you've shared with us, and then afterwards you guys can jump on very quickly with an introduction of your own. So first off, we have Ms. Anupam Pandey. She is the community manager at Vruksh Ecosystem Foundation, a major Indian startup incubator. She's also their co-lead for the Misfits Global Community, which is a network of alumni where they can kind of engage and share ideas related to their entrepreneurial work. And she is also a passionate entrepreneur who believes in creating opportunity for others. And next up, we have Ms. Vibu Sharma. She is a member of the MUN Impact Board of Directors, a dispute resolution, negotiation, and political, economic, and technological advisement lawyer. And she also holds a Master of Law and a Master of Public Policy. Lastly, we have Christine Ling. She is the Co-Secretary General of our 100K Geeds program here at MUN Impact. She's also the founder and executive director of Lingoscope, an online platform for students interested in learning about other cultures and languages. Unfortunately, Christine is unable to be with us today, but she wishes you all the best. And we hope to get some secondary opinions as well from some of the senior members of our adult leadership team who are here with us today, who can also jump on and give some of their own feedback and advice. Okay, sorry, Anupam and Vibu, would you guys want to jump on and introduce yourselves real quick?
Sure. Ms. Vibu, you can go first.
Yeah, Vibu is fine. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here, and I'm almost jealous. I missed so much of what happened this week. It just sounds so wonderful and so important, and I'm very impressed by the organizers. Matt is doing a fantastic job, as is Rita and Echo, and I don't see your colleague from The Hague. I'm excited to hear what you have to say and to learn from you and give you my very best input. Um, yeah, so thank you. Thank you for thinking about this. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your time. It's important. Sometimes as students, I remember thinking about big ideas and not knowing where it would go, but that's a good thing because you'll find out in the years and decades to come, but it's great to start. And so thank you for your work. It's going to be really important in the world. And I think Andrew is going to join us as well on the panel to give some input. So you should introduce yourself too, Andrew, after Anupam.
Go ahead, Anupam.
Sure, Andrew. Thank you. Hello, beautiful people. Hope you all are staying healthy. Thank you, Matthew, for the kind introduction. I have been associated with startups, incubators, and the government for, I guess, since 1.5 years now. So I've recently, also the bio is not updated, but yeah, I've recently joined Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, IIIT Hyderabad, where I am contributing in their incubation and programs. We are a technology incubator with over 13 plus years of rich experience in seeding, nurturing, and growing deep tech startups in various segments like medtech, tech for social, visual informatics, data engineering, machine learning, language technologies, gaming, and robotics. So, if any of you, any of the team who's pitching today needs help in any of these segments, do let us know, do reach out to us. And yeah, I would not take much of your time. And I just want to say all the best to each and every team participating today. Go and give your best. So yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Andrew. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm sure I can't do an equally good job as Ms. Ling, who couldn't be here today, but I'll try to step in as an adult voice and just share that I'm an educator for 30 years at John Burroughs School in St. Louis. I did get my master's in education with a study in gender studies. It was a lot of work studying Disney films and how atrocious a lot of them are with regards to gender equality. I currently have a student who's actually just created music that is hopefully going to present the first Disney female princess, South Korean. So someone to look up. I'll share her name on the link in a minute. But as a director of student activities at John Burroughs, I'm a huge advocate for the women who are and the girls in our school who are promoting SDG 5 and have an organization called GEO, Gender Equity Organization. And they're recently produced a feminine hygiene product drive to reduce the stigma, to raise feminine hygiene products for a safe house in St. Louis. So it was a huge project and really proud of them. And I'll stop talking so we can hear more from you all. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all panelists for the introduction. Okay, so now on to the pitches. Very quickly, we just need to get some people organized together, make sure we've got everyone in the room, and then we'll go right ahead with the scheduled programming. Okay, so real quick, I just want to confirm, so everyone who is here with us today, especially Sandbox participants, so far I only have Arpita, Matilda, and Gernor lined up to present. So does anyone else here who participated at our Sandbox event wish to present a completed slideshow? Because I recognize a couple of names, Anidak, Mohammed Rafai. So do you guys want to jump on with your own presentation or not? Completely your choice, by the way. Okay, and as for Gernor, Matilda, and Arpita, can I get confirmation for you guys that you're ready? Just message me in the chat, just let us know. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so Mohammed, do you have something ready to present? Okay, we'll move ahead with some of the other presenters and then we can figure that out later. Okay, awesome. Okay, Arpita, are you comfortable going first?
Yes.
Awesome, welcome. Feel free to turn on your camera and your mic. And yeah, let me start sharing your presentation for you. And just let me know when you want me to change to the next slide, okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that.
Okay, awesome. The floor is yours.
So can I start?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Arpita. I hope I'm audible and visible. Well, as you all can see in the slide that I have taken up SDG 5.5, which, okay, so the theme is SDG 5. Matthew, can you get to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So SDG 5.5, it speaks about like ensuring full participation in leadership and decision making. Next slide, please. Okay, I have taken this slide specifically as the reason because I personally love this, like advocating women empowerment in a hall. Moreover, I have witnessed, like Nandula studied about situations where like men and women were not put into equal scales in a decision making, specifically in defense sector. So I would point out about those people thinking having a prophecy that who always like belittle women, that they don't have knowledge over that area. So that's what my point of discussion will be today. Okay, so next slide, please. So my point and my point of actions and strategies would adhesively benefit women who seek for opportunities to come to the forefront of the perhaps to the administration of their country. Next slide. All right. So there are numerous areas of concern that I would like to point out in today's session. So, well, as I'm from India, I would like to point out about my country. Well, in Indian Parliament, it reserves 33% of seats for women. But as for the reports of Tribune India, like which is one of the quite popular media show, it says that only 14 to 17% of the seats is filled. Often political parties take up women participation in parliament as an election gimmick, and I don't understand what the point over this agenda. And interestingly, it works. Secondly, private sectors are also quite reluctant in commissioning female employees. Furthermore, India did not deploy women in NDA. Well, NDA is the National Defense Academy. So unless in 2021, the law was overruled by the Apex Supreme Court of India, but it was not free of criticisms. Next slide, please. Okay, so now starts the implementation of the solution of aforesaid concerns. Firstly, we will create awareness about women representation among youths through ads and or short clips type of thing. We will also seek for powerful women participation from all over the world to campaign our agenda through their social media. And I believe they would not charge us for putting up just a story or a feed in their social media handles. Well, apart from that, we will request government to allot funds for opening schools for girls where like they will be taught about leadership programs and self-defense techniques. Organizing workshops is also encouraged for bringing interaction among the female. So next slide, please. So as for the funds from government, we can sign online petitions by people from all over India. Specifically, we will urge women to come up for their cause. Additionally, we will use hashtags to get hallmark of our vision into the knowledge of women leaders. We can even take the help of popular media ones to get a wider reach onto our agenda. Can we get to the next slide? I strongly believe that with these steps are quite sufficed. If we get popularity, we can even tie up with UN Women or UNICEF. And yes, most importantly, fundraising would not be a problem if popular or powerful women leaders all over the world support us. Like they will be promoting our agenda, they will be helping us in raising. They themselves will donate the funds for our agenda. Next slide. All right, so I have thought of the brand name as Women for Women. We can get catchy jingles for it as well. For advertising, as I mentioned, we will seek for women influencers like Instagram celebrities or TikTokers or YouTubers maybe. So I've thought of engaging women leaders only as it will spread a positive kind of message, like women can stand up for themselves, they can speak about their rights, they can demand their rights, and undubiously it is a very popular idea about that. Also, it correctly goes with the brand name Women for Women. So that's what I think. Do we have any more slides? Oh, all right. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope it was quite feasible enough and you all liked my ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arpita. Okay, at this time, I'd like to invite Vibu, Anupam, and Andrew to jump on and give some comments and constructive criticism.
Sure. Shall I go first?
Absolutely.
Sure. So, Arpita, yeah. Hi, Arpita. How are you?
Hi, ma'am. I'm good. What about you?
So, yes. Giving you a quick feedback regarding your presentation. The way of presenting was okay. It was good. But the presentation isn't that catchy. First of all, you're presenting something. This is your pitch deck, right? This is your pitch. So it is not catchy actually. And I also felt there was too much of written information in your slides. The message, your message, whatever you are basically saying through your slides is not as clear as it should be. Try to add some charts, some graphs, some pictures, make it, represent it pictorial, in a pictorial manner, I would say. And you also discussed about the government funds. You can represent those, the government funds, the breakup of these funds can be represented as a graph or a pie chart, or any form of pictorial representation should be there, so that, it should be catchy enough. And then there were many slides where you were reading only, I can say. So make sure you explain it to your audience, to the panelists, and like wherever you are pitching it. So yeah, and also talk in numbers, right? Just mention few numbers there in your slides. I hope that's clear. Yeah. So yeah,
What
that's a
kind of numbers? I did not understand.
Sorry.
What kind of numbers can?
Numbers as in. So if you're talking about funds, make sure you mention some numbers. How much? If you're asking for funds, if you're asking for impact, you'll be impacting X number of women or X number of people. So here you need to mention numbers, I would say. Yeah, that's it from my end. Otherwise, it was good. Yeah, thank you. Over to Vibu. Yeah.
Thank you, Arpita. I thought it was very thoughtful that you thought about the gaps in leadership in the defense sector where women don't have a place and contribution to make, particularly in India and many other countries where women are not allowed to be in the military and defense industries. They were literally not allowed by even like legal restrictions. So I think that's a very, very important observation, because there are enough studies that suggest that when there is balance in decision making and multiple gender perspectives in decision making, it leads to different outcomes. And when it comes to things like war and military strategy, there's not enough gender diversity and perspective. So that's a very important issue. So congratulations for identifying such an important issue. And I did think that your presentation was very broad. It didn't focus in on that issue after you identified it, but I think identifying such an important problem is a very, very important step. And then how do you go about it? So I would think about what the industry is like. What is the budgetary contribution in the military and defense, the private sector industry, government decision making, academic, and how women are represented, and think about all of that. And then maybe you can break that down further into how can you even bring that to the knowledge of younger people, because a lot of young people are not aware of this area of very important impact in the world, how we take care of or protect sovereignty of countries, or think about defense and strategy. It's crucial for world security and how we make responsible choices. So if you can collect that decision, that information, and make that available in a meaningful way to people, I think that in itself is a good enough task, because I think growing up, I didn't know much about this. And how do you make that known? I'm not an expert in social media, so I'll leave that to you, but definitely speaking with women who've been in positions of power, and they're not very many, but whoever there is, like bringing forth their voices and their struggles and trials and tribulations. I do think there's always a psychological component to women accessing spaces which are not traditionally held by women, in that the messaging subconsciously in society is that you cannot be there. And so I think there's a huge psychological component of telling women that you belong there. And how do you get that messaging out in a way that is empowering to women? So great problem identification, and keep chipping away.
Thank you, ma'am.
I love hearing those brilliant ideas from my colleagues. The only things I'll add to that in terms of keys to success for you, Arpita, are simply that I've heard a lot of young people who want or dream of creating these amazing social media campaigns. And a lot of times it just takes one famous person to like you on social media. And I posted Julia Rue's music in the chat, and she got a celebrity to like her, and all of a sudden she went from 100,000 people viewing her to in the millions. That's what you dream of. So how do you go about doing that? How do you go about becoming popular? Yes, you have to make your pitch, your elevator pitch, really dramatic and with all that energy and visuals to appeal to people. I think following up on the Supreme Court, the transparency, if they made promises, then you need to follow up with them and make sure that to make that public what they're doing, what they've promised, and to give transparency to make sure that they're following through. Partnering, you mentioned UNICEF, women in positions to make them more visible. To people who recognize those names are going to connect, because there are already millions of followers who are following UNICEF. So if you get those partnerships strong and healthy, that'll help you significantly. And finally, I would say creating some kind of ambassador program. giving people a little more incentive if you're looking for those partners. You talked about Women for Women, which I love that idea. Those are role models. That's key, I think, to your campaign, is finding those women role models. And we're going to speak up for you, with you, partnering with you. So giving them a little incentive with the title, saying we want you to become, one of our ambassadors to these programs. And it doesn't have to just be the most famous people. They could be students who are just strong advocates, who have a voice, who just need that little incentive push from you to give them confidence, who can speak out. So on those social media campaigns, reaching for the goal of finding those celebrities, but also realize there's some people who are lower on that totem pole, but just as strong a voice, who could do incredible things with you in your project. So good luck.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, panelists, and thank you so much, Artara, for willing to come on and present your idea. Next up, we've got 2 more presentations lined up for today. So we're going to invite Matilda from England now to give her presentation on her amazing idea for SDG 5. Matilda, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Can you see your presentation?
Yeah, thanks. Got it.
Okay, just let me know when you want me to change the slides.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. So hello and welcome. Thank you for listening today. My name is Matilda and I am presenting to you the Geeds project, which is located in a city called Lviv, which is in Ukraine. It stands for Gender Equality Educational Debate Society, which is why I'm just going to keep it to Geeds for the sake of time. Next slide, please. So Geeds is a UN-funded, or it would be a UN-funded program, and it fights for gender equality primarily. So I thought I'd just start with the statistic. So if you have a look at the left here, we have how many women are in parliament in the countries, essentially. And lower down, unfortunately, on this list is Ukraine, with around 21, I believe, women in parliament. And this is a problem throughout Ukraine, particularly with women with professional careers who have been told they should only work in their homes or they should only have certain careers. And often, well, more often than not, this is by men. And this is exactly what the Geeds project is fighting to change, because I need to explain to you how amazing and how wonderful it is to have such a diverse number of people in politics. And this is something that Ukraine has really struggled with. Next slide, please. So what does Geeds actually strive to do? It primarily works with high school students in Ukraine and tries to sort of inspire them to voice their opinions and gives them a platform to do so. But not only that, but it inspires people to try and enter the field of politics. And even if they show little to no interest in doing so, we sort of allow them to develop a skill set that allows them to go forth into their academic lives and further with a useful skill set that's extremely transferable. Not only that, but it also tries to tackle gender inequality by we have a maximum on how many men are allowed to participate, basically allowing for more representation of other genders, and we usually leave this at 50%. Not only that, but it's also really great for those who have interest in debate and research skills to develop these even further. Next slide, please. Thanks. So this slide is perhaps a little less interesting, but I'd like to think equally as important, and this is some program information. So it's a 6-week program and the school individually can sign up to it and onboard, I believe, 10 to 25 students. This just depends on the size of the school or the year group that the volunteer will be working with. So as soon as the school signs up to this program, a volunteer will be sent to work with that number of students. And as you can see here on the right, we have some of the events that happen during the course of this program. We start with more foundational skills, like working on things like debate and research skills as a whole, and research is obviously a massive part of delivering arguments, learning to back up opinions with statistics, and at the very start, things like oracy activities and icebreakers. And this is just laying the foundations for the further weeks where we enter the debate day and feedback. And this is where the students can really learn how they could also improve themselves, but what they did well. We also, as I mentioned before, limit the number of participants who are male, just to allow for that platform again for people who might not always be heard in the community, unfortunately. Next slide, please. Thank you. So one great way of, once you've actually completed this program, one great way of sort of showing off the skills and how much development has taken place through the project is through the Geeds Summer Fair. This takes place at Lviv City Hall, and it's open to the general public. If you've participated in the project through sometime in the academic year, you can apply as a group or as an individual. So this is through September to June time. If you've participated during then, you're eligible to join. You can deliver opening and closing ceremonies, debates, hold stalls. It's all basically the work of the students with perhaps elements of guidance from peers, volunteers, or members of the school as in the form of staff. I think it's a really great opportunity because not only are you getting to interact with people around the city who might have common interests with, but you get to work with people you wouldn't have worked with otherwise. And not only that, but it's a great sense of community that it actually brings to the city. And I think it would be a really great opportunity for so many, not just for the students either, but for family, friends, perhaps the volunteers themselves, to see how their students have developed throughout the course of the programme. So next slide, please. So just to summarise, we're a UN-funded, volunteer-run organisation. We would challenge students to sort of move outside of their comfort zone and try things like public speaking that they might not have thought they were able to do originally, but learn to develop through the 6 weeks of the programme and perhaps even onto the summer fair. We try our best to keep everything as gender equal as possible and help not only women, but all genders to develop their skills and perhaps even enter the field of politics or use their transferable skill sets in other sectors. And also it allows the students to really sort of talk about what they believe they want to see changed in society, maybe only in their schools or in, for example, health and education systems in Ukraine, because there's a lot of room for improvement, and not just from the point of SDG 5 and gender equality, but as a whole. And I think it's a really great opportunity, not just to sort of work towards this SDG, but it allows for so much potential to achieve all of them. And next slide, please. So thank you very much for listening. I hope there was something you could sort of take away from that, or that you like the idea of. I'm hoping also some great feedback. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Matilda. And right before we welcome our panelists to jump on and give some feedback, I love how thought out this entire idea is. Like, you've even got the city prepared, Lviv, as well as like a venue and everything in mind for how you would organize this event. And I think that's amazing. So thank you so much for your commitment to creating a highly realistic plan. Okay, now I'd like to welcome our panelist team to jump on and share their opinion. So whenever you guys wanna go ahead with that.
Yeah, sure. Let me go ahead. So, Matilda, yeah, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Great presentation, amazing. I loved the way you represented your that statistical thing that you presented. So that was amazing. That was and the idea, the overall idea, the agenda you were focusing on, that is also good. As you said, women may face a number of challenges that can affect their ability to participate in political life and become political leaders. So, and there are several countries, several countries, they're exploring measures that may increase women's participation in government at all levels, from the local to the national and international. And there's where this idea of yours will be effective. And I just wanted to understand, have you done any pilots for this, or is it the idea is active now, is just an idea, or what? I didn't get this.
I've been mostly working on the presentation right now, trying to get everything sorted, but I was kind of considering maybe looking into it, but it's not something I'm certain on yet. It was just more of a proposal originally, but who knows?
Yeah, right. You can start doing small pilots or small, such trainings in your region or in your college or in your, wherever you are in your particular area. So some small regions, maybe connect with people, try to talk to as many people as possible, connect with more and more people, and then try to do some small pilots, highly focused pilots, so that, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I really like the presentation. Yeah. Thank you. All the best.
Thanks.
Vibu, you want to go ahead?
You go ahead.
Okay. I just kind of looked up the acronym GEED, and just be careful. So GEED up has a positive connotation, but GEED does not. So just be careful there. I always research those acronyms. Love the idea. I love the summer fair idea with students teaching students. It's certainly what we do at the Global Summit here at MUN Impact with leadership workshops. And one thing it leads me to think about is, why do we even need male participation at all? It's wonderful you want to include no more than 50% male, but I think you're going to fill it up with some amazing young women, and think about including some adults as well who can serve as role models, because when you have workshops that students are leading, but they have adults in the room listening and learning, it's an incredibly powerful component, not to dominate with adults, but it's wonderful for young people to know that they're being supported by all age groups. So well done there. And again, I love the idea of this being student-led. It sounded like week 1 through 6 would be training done by students. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrific. In terms of teens entering politics, I see it a lot here in the United States, with students calling their Congress people to voice their opinions, know that they have a voice, and they train each other how to make those phone calls and speak to people in those congressional offices. And they come out incredibly empowered and amazing amount of self-esteem as they teach each other how to do it, learn from their mistakes, and build that confidence. So it sounds like you're building those dynamics, which I think are terrific, because you all do have a voice in those arenas. So to show by example is a great idea. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thanks.
I feel like I have nothing useful to say. Everything wonderful has already been said. Wonderful idea, and I love the idea of it being gender inclusive, particularly gender diverse people, and in conservative cultures and societies, those voices can be very marginalized and not come to the fore. But if you're just talking about leadership training and like understanding what you can do and how you can participate and access leadership and political life for all genders, I think that can be very welcoming for a broader range of people. So I really like that. Love the idea of students sharing with students, because that's democratic, and it shows to people that you can just be like your peers and colleagues, and we're all here to help each other learn. And I like Andrew's idea of having some adult participation in terms of just at some levels, so that there is that validation and support and some of that life input, which your project could benefit from. Yes, in terms of, I grew up in India, and it wasn't very obvious to me when I was growing up how I can access political, my local member of parliament or the legislative assembly or the mayor. So how does one even go about writing letters or accessing them in a way that is meaningful? It's much more, I now live in Canada, and it's much more accessible here. Like you can write to your local, it's a thing, people will write to their local MP. So that's something you can think about including, which is very easily doable, right? How to start participating and getting your voices heard, and even, around themes, and if you have petitions, and if you have, if there's an issue that you care about, we can work together on getting that messaging out to our local leaders. So that might be one way of doing some real work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much to Matilda, and thank you so much to our panelists. That was an amazing experience. Once again, loved getting to hear about your project, and best of luck to you. Okay, so we've got 2 more presentations lined up. Another one of our Sandbox participants jumped on, and so we're first going to go ahead with Gurnor, Gurnor, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
So hello everyone, I'm Gurnur and this is my presentation for a solution on gender equality. So first we'll start with the problems faced by women. There are innumerable challenges and issues that women face that concern physical and mental health. The problems like lack of education, improper health facilities, gender discrimination, gender pay gap, and unequal rights. For gender equality in society, the overall score in 2019 was up by 0.67, up from 0.66 in 2015. These trends are similar across regions. The Middle East and North Africa region experienced the biggest increase in gender equality, rising from a global GPS of 0.47 in 2015 to a 0.50 in 2019. Next slide, please. So what is my solution and what does it link to? My solution is to start an emergency program or organization to tackle the emergencies faced by women in crisis. So it will be called the Life of Equality. And my project links to targets 5.1, 5.4, 5.5, and 5.6. This organization will basically support women by empowering them through technology. We will be making a website that can be used in case of emergency, not only for women, other people can use it as well. Next slide, please. So my main focus. The target for my project will be women because in terms of gender equality, but it's also open to everyone who feels unsafe or in crisis. So in this program, we will also be providing other stuff like shelter for women in case they do not have a place to stay, and some classes and debates as well, like Matilda mentioned in her presentation as well. And yeah, other things for women, even sports, we can organize it for them. So it's basically for them to feel home. The women who can't get their rights can be helped with this program. Next slide, please. So the project timeline and success. This can be used for a lifetime as soon as it is active. So it will be an ongoing process. This is one of the most important things for women in crisis. This can be really helpful for them as this is one of the things that are needed for them to survive. We would consider our idea as a success when we will be able to change the life of many women and empowering them. And yeah, if you want to be a part of it, please contact me and I'll be really happy to respond to that. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Gurnor. Love the very clean aesthetic of your presentation. Made it very easy to follow as well. But now I'd like to welcome our panelists to jump on with some of their feedback also.
Should I start off this time? Thank you, Gurnor. I love your energy and enthusiasm for this. Couple questions for you. And one is, I've just looked up and I love your stats at the beginning. Just wanted to hear them a little more clearly, but I know you're rushing through this and you've just spent a week presenting or preparing. But it sounded like 52% of women in the world do not have access to the internet. So thinking about your access to technology that you're promoting, and if you're providing this emergency link that's necessary for this program to succeed, how many women are going to have access to those links? So think about ways perhaps not just to make access through the internet. How else can you tap into all those women who are marginalized and don't have those resources? Something to think about there. I'm going to leave it at that. Let's hear from the others.
Thank you for your feedback.
Actually, I was thinking about that as well. And, you know, women traditionally go to spaces especially particularly in maybe Middle East, you know, salons and where they shop, and tailors and places where women gather. So those would be places where you would talk about this, and even posters, right? So that's one way to reach out. This is an excellent idea, because I think when you look at women who face violence in their homes, or women who face extreme conditions, often their inability to leave is because there's no other safe space. And to have a safe space where they can go and get shelter and access to opportunity to rebuild their life is a very, very important issue. And you can look at some of the work that's done in, at least in Toronto, where I live now. There are some very interesting projects and shelters and spaces such as these for women and gender diverse people. And I know, for example, in comparison, I'm not familiar, or growing up, I wasn't familiar with a space such as this in Calcutta, where I grew up. So it makes it very unsafe for women to even take the steps that they want to. So I think this is a very, very important topic and issue. And there's lots of incredible work done in other countries that you can draw from to understand how to set it up. Excellent idea to even for them to have access to technology in that place, so that they can get an email going, they can make their CVs, they can know, oh, they can do a small cooking project here, or whatever skills they have, or if they know English, they can teach English. If they have skills in math, they can do something related to numbers. But how does one even go about it? It's hard. So that sort of career support is quite fantastic. So great idea. Keep thinking about it. If I can support in any way, do reach out.
Thank you.
Yeah, adding on to what Andrew and what Vibu said about technology part, and about what can be done for the women living in underserved communities. So here, there are a few startups, there are a few apps which are working on a very low bandwidth thing, and on any feature phone they are available. Like they you can customize the data or anything on on low bandwidth and on any feature phones. So no need to have smartphones for that. This is so you whenever you are activating this project, you can collaborate with such startups and work with them. Also, regarding your presentation, particularly about your presentation, mention the name of your idea or your project. The name was not there, right? And then you also told, when you explained your problem statement, you mentioned a few numbers there, which is good. And you showed project timelines. So I would suggest show the project timelines. It can be shown in a monthly pattern, like month 1 to month 2, you did this. You worked on website, or you're working on. You'll be working on websites. Then month 3 to month 4 to month 5, you'll be working on this. So project timelines can be shown like this. The monthly pattern should be there. So yeah, this is a quick feedback.
All right, thank you. But I did mention the name. It's called A Life of Equality.
Okay, then I missed it because I didn't see. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you for your feedback.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Gurnor, and thank you so much to our panelists for jumping on today. Okay, so lastly, we have a presentation by Mohammed Rafai. IT unfortunately doesn't have a slideshow ready, but he's prepared to present without one. So Mohammed, are you ready to jump on?
Hello, everyone.
Awesome, we can hear
I'm
you.
audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
I am Rafe from India. I have not prepared slides because of my busy timetable. We know SDG 5 speaks about gender equality. From that, I prefer to choose SDG 5.5. It speaks about the participation of people in leadership and making decisions in emergency and normal situations. Because I have chosen this target in India, most of the people doesn't participate in leadership. And also people don't know, the more people we gather in the process of making a decision, the more likely our final choice will meet the most needs and address the most concerns possible and increase mutual understanding. I prefer to tell people about the benefits while participating in leadership and making decisions. I hope they will at least try to participate in leadership and also make the right decision. Communities in India that help in developing leadership and in Sankalp community help in improving leadership, and Youngistan Foundation helps to improve education as well as leadership, that we have to participate in that communities. How to improve gender equality in India? Eliminate How to improve leadership and decision making in India? Eliminate all forms of violence against all women and girls in the public and private space, including trafficking and sexual and other types of exploitation. Eliminate all harmful practices such as child and early forced marriage and female genital mutilation. How to improve leadership? Give educate training. Even though a variety of different training opportunities are available to almost everyone in an organization, typically only higher ups and upper levels managers are eligible to receive leadership training. Every employee can benefit from leadership training and by being given opportunities to lead, and the organization for which they have worked benefit to when everyone has a say in where the organization is going and how it's going to there. And we have to first access our strengths and weakness. First we have to make a list of the strengths and weakness we feel we have as a leader. For instance, to strengths, effective leaders may have included the ability to inspire others and to support complex team projects. So they might list delegation and motivation to a list of professional strengths. A professional weakness can include areas of our skill development that we desire to improve, build upon, or even learn for the first time. Then we have to create our mission and set our goals. After that, we have to track and evaluate our progress. Plan to measure Plan to measure our progress regularly so we can see how we are advancing towards each of our short-term objectives and our overall career goals. Project management is a gamble in business. We make decisions and sometimes they are wrong. No matter how solid our plan is, no matter how well our team works together, no matter how much experience we have, and no matter how much capital we have to work with, project failure is always a possibility. When a project fails, it can be devastating. Team members can be let go. People who participated in leadership can be lost, and confidence in our organization can be shattered. And from our team, stay focused on the main goal. Always we have to keep in the big picture and purpose of the project. Help prioritize team members tasks. We should not be the ones of pro- prioritize team members tasks. It's essential to our team members productivity that I find out where they have any confusion about their tasks. And we also don't give up. Develop your Develop our high potential employees. It's important to note the differences between top performance and high potential employees. While our performance may also be our highest potential for future leadership, this might not always be the case. Some employees thrive in their current role but may not be driven to lead a team or an organization someday. But we have to be sure to focus on employees who are driven, highly motivated, and invested in the organization. These are likely our future leaders. Being leadership development early, often organization wait until the years leading up to retirement to begin developing the next leader or leader of the organization. It's never too early to start developing leaders. wave leadership development programs into all levels of experience. It can
Okay,
even be advantages
Mohammed,
of corporate
unfortunately,
leadership assessment into our requiring and hiring process.
Mohammed, unfortunately, I think you might be cutting out a little too much at this point. Are you nearly done with your presentation?
Yeah, so my presentation is over. I think my presentation is a little much squared. Thank you for listening my feedback. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for jumping on and being willing to present. Okay, so I think, Mohammed, you've got a bunch of great ideas that you're considering and perhaps haven't really settled on one yet. So maybe panelists, if you guys could jump on and maybe give him some direction in terms of how he can take this passion for working for the SDGs in different directions. I think that would be wonderful.
I can go. Thank you, Mohammed, for even sharing what you have. And it sounds like you're doing what we would call a literature review. Looking at the landscape and looking at the broad situation, which is so important when you start thinking about how to situate yourself in solving a problem. So it was really nice to hear your thinking around how leadership should be organized and what the problem is and what the issues are, and that's good groundwork. And I would now suggest that you think about what would that look like in terms of an intervention or a project that you want to work on, and how that would be targeted, what would be the audience, and what would be the steps you would take. So I can tell that you think deeply and keep prodding, keep prodding. So thank you.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, as per my understanding, Rafi, you are focusing on building a community which is focusing on social issues. So the idea is good. Try to have some presentation also next time maybe, and be focused. As per whatever you said, your focus is actually broad, and a lot of you're focusing on a lot of social issues at one time. Just try focusing on something particular on one issue at a time, and then go ahead, connect with NGOs which are working on something similar. Try to take their feedbacks as well. Try to work with them, I would say, first of all, and then start building or initiate something on your own. So yeah, thank you.
As everyone said, it's certainly the early stages of this project. What I liked hearing was your enthusiasm and some focus on training of employees, which I think is so important in identifying employees' strengths and weaknesses. I'd really love to hear, and I'd love to see you develop more, is this concept of learning from one's mistakes and to accept that a failure we culturally think of as bad is actually something that can make you grow and learn from those mistakes, which I think is so important to develop. So I'd love to see your intervention in your project develop that culture of recognizing one's mistakes and one's failures. Could be pretty cool. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, panelists, for that advice. Okay, so that concludes all of our presentations for today. As you can see, got a wide range of flavors of ideas and different creative visions for how we should respond to achieving SDG 5. And so I hope this was a learning experience for all of our participants here today. And I hope that those of you who presented today had some fun as well. And panelists as well got to see some of the creative young minds that we're sponsoring here at MUN Impact. Okay, so before we close out the session, and I'm going to hand things off to our GWOA, or actually, Rita, can you have them take the photo later in a bit?
Yes, do you want to do that now or in a little bit?
Sure,
Maybe
that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do it now probably because our panelists need to go.
Great thing. Real quick, one thing, panelists, would it be all right if we connected you and some of the presenters after the event in case they've got some additional questions or seeking some additional advice? Okay, awesome. I shall do that then. Okay, yeah, Rita, go ahead.
Okay, so before we move on to like the closing ceremony, portion, I would like to take a photo in case our panelists need to leave. So if you could please all turn on your cameras so we can take a photo, that would be great. In case you don't feel comfortable, you can keep your camera off. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to give you another minute or two. Okay, then I guess we can go now. So 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, it's done. Thank you so much. And with that, we conclude our Dolphin pool session. And panelists, please feel free to leave if you need to or if you want to. And now I'd like to say some words to conclude and officially close this Global Week of Action. So on behalf of me and my colleague Maya, who is not, unfortunately couldn't be present today, thank you so much to all the participants, panelists, workshop facilitators, moderators, staff members, and everyone who took part in this Global Week of Action. I hope you have enjoyed it on one hand, and I hope you leave these 2 weekends and all of these sessions with a better grasp of the problem of gender inequality. Why is it important to solve it, its connection to other SDGs, and how you can help achieve gender equality in your community, or at least improve gender equality in your community. I would like to give a special shout out to Matt and Aiko who are here. Aiko was at almost every single session of Global Week of Action, and she has been really fundamental in adminning the sessions, taking attendance, making sure we get our badging information in order. And Matt conducted the sandboxes and really put his heart and soul into this kind of program that we run during our Global Weeks of Action and Summits, as he always does, because he's been the one who's been handling these programs, these sandbox sessions for later Global Weeks of Action. So thank you, Matt. So if you have a favorite workshop, I love to hear what your favorite workshop was. If you can drop that in the chat, that would be great. I like to share that my favorite, that I love all workshops. I was here for almost every single one of them. The open forums hold a special place in my heart because I have some experience organizing them. And I also love the Green Light for Girls workshop. So I'm seeing what you dropped in the chat. Thank you to everyone, and yes, Social Hour, Dolphin Pool, Go Green Light for Girls, they were all amazing events. So I hope you take the knowledge that you gain during this Global Week of Action, during this Dolphin Pool in all sessions, and you take them and you apply these knowledge, turn the theory into practice, advocate for SDG 5 in your community, be a part of the change. And just in general, think, what can I do to advance the SDGs and SDG 5? One way to do that is by joining MUN Impact as a volunteer. The link is in our link tree. If someone can drop that in the chat, that would be great. If not, you can just go to our Instagram, is in our bio, both of the Global Week of Action and MUN Impact Instagram. And yes, thank you so much. And I'm reading through the chat. Yes, thank you to the panelists who dropped their contact information in the chat. And yes, I'm reading. Yes, Women in STEM panel was very inspirational. And yes, thank you, everyone. And with that, I officially close Global Week of Action on SDG 5. Thank you. And don't forget to sign up for Global Week of Action on SDG 3. I don't think I have the link anymore, but it should be in our link tree soon enough. Sign-ups are already open or about to open, so please sign up for that. It's next month. It's on SDG 3. Yes, thank you so much. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything or if we can close the room. Thank you so much. Thank you.